Hey nerds, welcome to JerAwards. Today we're going to be recapping Season 3 of Lucifer. If you're new to the channel, basically at the end of each of our major seasons, we recap the season we just watched before we get into Season 4, Episode 1. So, with just that out of the way, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe for daily content. If there's a day, there's a reaction. There's links in the description box down below for the Patreon, the Twitch stream, and everything in between. All the episodes so far on Lucifer are over on Patreon if you want to check them out, as well as all the other shows that we've ever watched. There's all the playlists on the channel. Enough about that. Season 3 of Lucifer. How this breaks down is we have a very quick recap nowadays, not as long-winded as it used to be. Soft recap of Season 3. We'll get into our JerAwards, so our favorite episode, our favorite scene, and all of those things. We'll wrap up with our In Memoriam, and then before that, we'll also have our name for the season and for the finale. And if it feels like I'm squinting a little bit, I just took my glasses off and I feel blind as fuck. Anyways, Jerry doesn't have to go behind the scenes today. He can hang out with us. So what was Season 3 of Lucifer? Season 3 of Lucifer was all about the Sinner Man. Who is the Cinnamon? And shockingly enough, along the way, we also get reintroduced to Charlotte Richards. Charlotte Richards obviously dying in an episode and then becoming the embodiment. Her corpse, her flesh, was then possessed by the goddess of all creation, aka Mama God, who Lucifer took care of in Season 2, cut open her light, went into the alternate dimension with the Sword of Azrael. We'll talk about that as well. And Charlotte woke up on the beach with amnesia. Now, I'm going to talk about Charlotte first before the Sinner Man. So Charlotte Richards actually dies in Season 2. And when she's dead, she goes to hell because her life of being this defense attorney, she's been getting off all of these criminals. Not like getting them off, but like getting them off their case. So she's been getting off all these criminals this entire time. And she goes into a hell loop where she's waking up with their family, and the people that she let off, one by one, come in and kill her family and then her. So she was in hell for that time period that Mama God was inside of her body. So when that all ends in Season 2, she's given a second chance at life, essentially, and she wants to do good. She ends up leaving being a defense attorney and joining actually the DA office. So, wait, is that right? Isn't DA defense attorney? Regardless, she changes her position, and along the way, people are talking to her like it's Mama God because they see the corpse, they see the flesh they were familiar with, and it takes a lot of getting used to, and she still had a bunch of questions, and she felt like she was going insane, and Lucifer kind of explained things to her until, I mean, even Detective Douche, Dan was just absolutely just blown away by the fact that she has some sort of amnesia and doesn't want to talk to her or talk to him. And then Amenadiel tells her who she is. And then it's reaffirmed kind of by Dr. Linda Martin, if I have that correctly. And then Lucifer outright comes out and says it. And as she does all of her good deeds to try to get good in the graces of heaven, she meets her demise, which brings us to the Sinner Man. So Charlotte Richards was a huge part of this season. Her and Dan finding each other again, even in the extra episode, right? So the Sinner Man is who we predicted, the introduction of Marcus Pierce, aka Lieutenant Pierce, aka Lieutenant Smallville, aka Superman, aka Clark Kent from the Smallville show, aka Cain from the Bible. So the Sinner Man, this whole thing plays out granting favors. Lucifer wakes up, obviously from the end of Season 2. He no longer has his devil face, but instead he has his angel wings. Cain, on the other hand, after he killed Abel, was given a mark on his arm that basically meant that he was immortal for the rest of his long days. Cain has been walking around this entire time, immortal, being a police officer, being a detective, a lieutenant, and going from job to job and going through all of these things. And they kind of use the Sinner Man as a front. When that gets dealt with, it's revealed that he's Cain by Lucifer, who kind of pieces it together. Lucifer promises to end his life. And how it ends up playing out, Amenadiel doesn't want to do that because God put that mark there for a reason. But then Amenadiel has a point that just like humans, maybe we also have our free will, and the way that we feel about things is how life happens. Like if you're in hell and you forgive yourself and you no longer have a guilty conscience, you can escape from hell, as Lucifer mentioned in seasons past, but nobody's ever done that. So same deal for him. He felt bad for the things he did. So he forced himself to lose his wings. He forced himself to lose his powers. That's why he was able to get his powers in the moment of need to help out Dr. Linda Martin. Now, on top of that, Lucifer felt good for his good deeds. That's why his devil face is gone and his angel wings were back. So this ends up playing a part into it because Cain wants to use Chloe as the key since Lucifer's invulnerable around Chloe. So he makes Chloe Decker fall in love with him. He proposes to her. She says yes, but the marriage actually never happens. She ends up coming to her senses. But he had believed himself free of this guilty. He had believed that he had made Chloe fall in love with him. He had believed that he had found this cure. He had believed himself into no longer having the mark. And if I'm wrong on that, please let me know. But that's the way it was explained in the show. So he loses his mark, but then realizes he wants to be with Chloe. But it's kind of too little too late for that. Lucifer also watches him propose to her, but Lucifer ends up explaining his love for her in his own way. They smooch, and this kind of all comes around to Smallville wanting to hire Maze to murder him in a deal and frame Lucifer for it, blah, 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 get him out of the way. Basically, he goes off the fucking rocker. They bring back Abel for a bit, and all this attempts to try to kill him, they never mention the blade of Azrael, whatever. So, even though it's gone, Smallville, in an attempt to kill Amenadiel on his own, ends up killing Charlotte Richards. And in that moment, Amenadiel gains his wings back after she asks him not to leave her. And he says, let's go home. And he takes her up to heaven. And we didn't see him anymore after episode 23. Finale was 24, bonus episodes, yada, yada. Lucifer finds his angel wing and realizes what has happened. Once they piece together that Smallville has done this, again, it's really rushed because this was supposed to be their last season. He goes in with Chloe. Chloe takes a bullet basically for Lucifer, but the necklace blocked it that he gave her. Boom, his wings come out. He kind of saves the day. And in a final moment, when he says that he's a devil of his word and finally is able to kill Cain, he feels himself evil in that moment. So he gets his devil face back, and Chloe sees his devil face at the end of season 3, episode 24, a devil of my word. And she says to herself, it's all real. So she finally realizes that she kept talking the whole episode about metaphors being incorrect, like metaphors. His metaphors just driving him crazy. She's been encouraging it, blah, blah, blah. So finally she sees his face and realizes it's all true. And that was the end of season 3. The 2 bonus episodes, Ray ends up, somebody that Ella thinks is a ghost that she's seen since her childhood, is actually the goddess of death, aka Azrael. Which was a fun bonus episode. The other, like, what if this happened episode was also kind of fun. Also a big story arc with Maze. I don't want to forget Maze at all. Maze has a beautiful story arc in this season. And Dr. Linda Martin and Amenadiel getting together and her being betrayed by it, yada, yada. And her eventually coming back around to be friends again with Dr. Linda Martin at the end of the season was beautiful. Her upsetting Trixie and that not getting resolved when the show was supposed to be ending is kind of upsetting as well. But Chloe knowing everything at this cliffhanger here, all of that was really good. I don't want to push Maze to the sides because she's a very important character, and I love that she came back in the season after being pregnant in season 2. That Lieutenant Smallville stuff and Amenadiel staying and Charlotte Richards seemed to be the bigger priority. But those were kind of the 4 pillars, the Mount Rushmore of the season. And I just said that we haven't had too many long-winded recaps so far of the season, but that one felt like it went a little longer than usual. So, but that was season 3. It was really, really good. And I'll tell you the name that I came up with for season 3 towards the end of this. My only issue with season 3 was that right when we got into the meat of stuff, they wanted to hit us with a bunch of filler episodes that still had relevance, but once you find out who the center man is, there's like a 2 or 3 episode break, maybe even 4 episodes where they just don't fucking talk about it. And then it goes back to it. So that is annoying. But I will say this. The big thing, and again, I've mentioned it 100 times now, the Blade of Azrael could send anybody to purgatory. It killed Uriel, outright wiped him off the map. I know that it's no longer on Earth. I get that. It's in a different dimension. But Amenadiel or even Cain himself, anybody mocking him in that sense, like, oh, well, if we had the Blade of Azrael, this would be pretty easy, but you fucking blah, blah, blah. You got rid of it, blah, 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 blah. Something, just a mention of it, or Lucifer being like, we need the blade. And then him rushing to Amenadiel to get his necklace and then realizing, oh shit, yep, this is gone. Any sort of mention of it would have been nice. It didn't happen. I did miss 2 rolling credits throughout the entire season. One, I put a thing over it. When I edited the episode about Azrael, Ray, I didn't catch it. So either it didn't happen or I'm just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and missed it twice. But that's season 3. I did love it a whole bunch. And with that out of the way, let's get into Lucifer season 3 JerAwards. Are you ready? Here we go. We're going to kick things off with favorite episode. We got a fuck ton of nominees. Are you ready? Episode 1. They're back, aren't they? 3. Mr. and Mrs. Mazakine Smith. 6. Vegas with some radish. 7. Off the Record. 9. The Sinner Man. 10. The Sin Bin. 12. All About Her. 13. Till Death Do Us Part. 14. My Brother's Keeper. 15. The Angel of San Bernardino. Or 24. A Devil of My Word. Now, I love that 3-episode stretch, or that 4-episode stretch. Take out episode 11, where it's 10. Actually, 7, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14 is a great stretch with a couple minute episodes in there. Episode 6 you can throw in as well. But that stretch of 12, 13, and 14, really, really banging episodes. This was initially going to, like, I think it was Off the Record or The Sinner Man for favorite episode, as well as Mr. and Mrs. Smith as the season progressed. But then we got to my favorite episode, which was actually, this happens often, the finale, which is season 3, episode 24. A Devil of My Word is the season 3 favorite episode. Favorite scene? There's a bunch, so bear with me. From season 3, episode 1, Ella explaining the death of the victim. From 3-2, Amenadiel working with Dr. Martin. From 3-3, Trixie giving Maze Miss Alien. Also from 3-3, these next two, Maze and Rivers fighting. Maze realizing she has a family. From 3-4, Amenadiel coming down in a suit. Lucifer showing the kids how to sell drugs. I forgot that was the season. Season 3, episode 6, Ella stunting in her dress. Ella counting cards. The candy flashbacks. And Lucifer proposing in a Snuggie. From season 3, episode 7, Reese Getty's Hell Loop. From 3-9, Maze and Lucifer, a conversation in the freezer. From 3-10, Trixie playing wingman. And Lucifer revealing Kane with a stab to the chest. 3-11, Lucifer and Amenadiel's cage fight. From 3-12, Dan's paddle out with the orcas. From 3-13, Lucifer and Kane's conversation at the cookout. 3-14, Trixie and Ella wearing the same shirt. 3-14, Amenadiel and Kane fighting. Maze saving Ella. Dr. Linda apologizing to Charlotte. In 3-15, Lucifer having a prom for Chloe. 3-17, Dan and Amenadiel's hug. Lucifer and Exara's duet. From 3-20, Lucifer kicking in Pierce's window after he hurt Chloe. From 3-21, Dr. Martin telling Lucifer to tell Chloe how he feels. From 3-24, the finale, Lucifer using his wings to protect Chloe. From 3-25, Chloe accepting that Ella can see a ghost. And also from 3-25, Azriel telling Lucifer she put Ella in L.A. for her to be around. I loved each and every one of those scenes, but there can only be 2 winners. I have 2 honorable nominees before I announce the winners. The 2 nominees are from 3-14 and 3-15 in this order. Trixie and Ella wearing the same shirt, and Lucifer having the prom for Chloe was very heartwarming. But we actually have a tie. We have a tie for favorite moment. From episode 312 and episode 324, I'm going to do them in reverse order. From the finale first, Lucifer using his wings to protect Chloe, and Dan's paddle out with the orcas. Him doing that in that moment, not really caring if she sees it, but having to do it. I mean, he's been holding off this whole time, being like, hey, these are real, by the way. Wing, wing. But Dan's paddle out with the orcas was a very random, wholesome moment that I wasn't expecting. And it really helped me this season to like Dan. So that's that. Most heartbreaking scene. From 3-1, Amenadiel hearing his mom is gone. From 3-4, Lucifer thinking he should have been in the case instead of Smallville when he got hurt, and he said he should have been there. In 3-6, Chloe upset Lucifer missed her birthday. In 3-9, Maze telling her feelings to Dr. Martin when she was crying there with Lucifer next to her, I think. 3-10, Lieutenant Smallville yelling at Ella. From 3-12, Ella saying she was heartbroken over how Pierce yelled at her. 3-14, Ella thinking her brother was a murderer for a second. From 3-15, Todd realizing he was going to be a hero in the new book. From 3-16, Charlotte Richards talking about her hell. From 3-17, Dr. Linda Martin leaving the counseling with Maze, and Lucifer watching Chloe go on a date with Pierce. From 3-18, Trixie crying over what Maze said about her. From 3-19, Lucifer watching Chloe and Pierce ride off together. From 3-20, Pierce breaking Chloe's heart, and Lucifer seeing Chloe hurt. From 3-21, Lucifer watching Chloe say yes to Pierce's proposal. And the last 2 from 3-24, Charlotte's death and Dan seeing Charlotte's body. Dan seeing Charlotte's body is heartbreaking in and of itself, and showing the waffle bracelet around her wrist. But I do have an honorable mention for this one. Trixie being heartbroken by who she was considering her friend to say that. Not just her babysitter, but somebody she looked at as an older person that was a friend. Broke, I think, everybody's heart. But for me, the most heartbreaking thing was Ella talking about how she was heartbroken over how Pierce yelled at her. And after her being short that whole episode, not tiny in stature, but being short, talking to people, hurt. And then seeing her actually crying also hurt, because Ella's just a heartwarming character in this entire show. And it's just stuff like that makes me sad. Funniest scene, Amenadiel's reaction to hearing, I'm here to give you a rub, in season 3, episode 1. In 3-2, I've never seen a cock that big. In 3-4, Amenadiel saying, congrats, you just won sex with me. I just have episode 3 times 6. There must have been something funny there I forgot to mention. From 3-9, Angel School. From 3-11, Amenadiel on the porn set. From 3-13, Dan thinking he was about to have a threesome. From 3-14, Dr. Linda poking Charlotte in the neck to check for holy light. From 3-20, Dan naked in the closet. I have dual winners for this. Okay, my runner-up would be Amenadiel on the porn set, and like, I'm here to give you a rub, how you did the people's eyebrow. But from 3-2, I've never seen a cock that big, which you guys told me was improvised. I was drinking when that happened, and I almost fucking threw up everywhere. From 3-13, Dan thinking he was about to have a fucking threesome had me in tears. My brother was so uncomfortable. He was like, hey, can I get some water? That shit, that's top tier comedy for me. So those are I have 2 winners. Hey, again, this is a banging ass season. So what do you expect? Favorite kiss? Oh my goodness. From 3-3, Maze and Rivers. From 3-9, Amenadiel and Dr. Martin. From 3-13, Lucifer and Kane. From 3-20, Chloe and Pierce. And from 3-23, Lucifer and Chloe. Now, you may be sitting here thinking to yourself, now, I liked Amenadiel and Dr. Martin, and I love Maze and Rivers together. Chloe and Pierce is just on here because it happened. Lucifer and Chloe kissing in 23. Quintessential Decker star. Top tier shit. But Lucifer grabbing Kane and giving him the old fire. That's your winner. Congrats. Favorite kill? Sam found skewered under the bridge in 3-2. In 3-3, Maze killing the hitman. In 3-10, Lucifer stabbing Lieutenant Smallville / Kane in the heart. From 3-19, Barry getting sniped in the head. Or from 3-24, Lucifer killing Kane. And now it was going to be Lucifer killing Kane, but my favorite kill is actually him stabbing him as Lieutenant Smallville, because I thought he just fucked up thinking he was in the right. I think that would have been a very interesting way to take that and see where it would have went. Even if they would have waited, like he didn't have a kip up long enough. If he would have stabbed Kane and him be dead, and for an episode like Lucifer getting prosecuted and stuff, and then like Smallville just like shows up. I don't know how that would work thinking about it, because he's the lieutenant, but still, you get the point. Favorite quote, I just have one, and it's your winner. Dr. Linda Martin in season 3, episode 6. There is no expiration date on the healing process, and I want each and every one of you to remember that. Write it down. Next time you're going through something, there's no expiration date on when you're supposed to heal. There's no time limit. Take your time and heal, and remember that people out there love you, even if they're strangers. There are people that love you. Okay? 4-hit smooch, just for you. Mwah. Favorite case? I let go of this after it happened, but 3-2, the stolen jokes was really good. 3-3, Rivers seemed like it was going to be a front runner, but favorite case for season 3 was, of course, from episode 9, but for the entire season was the Sinner Man. Favorite friendship was a pain in the ass. I have a bunch of these. I'm going to reel them off really quickly. Lucifer and Trixie, Lucifer and Amenadiel, Lucifer and Dr. Martin, Amenadiel and Dr. Martin, Maze and Trixie, Maze and Dr. Martin, Lucifer and Dan, Amenadiel and Dan, Chloe and Maze, Lucifer and Ella, Lucifer and Candy, Lucifer and Kane. A couple of those fell apart throughout the season, but I do have a clear winner. I didn't think I was going to get to it until the season ended. Actually, I'm giving it to Maze and Dr. Linda Martin. And you're like, wow, they weren't friends the whole season. It was about the fucking redemption arc that I was waiting for. I wanted them to come back together, and it did. If I was going to give it to anybody else, it may have went to Lucifer or actually Amenadiel and Dan, the way that they buddied this season. That could have happened. Or even, Charlotte Richards and Lucifer, Charlotte Richards and Chloe, Charlotte Richards and Dan, or Charlotte Richards and Amenadiel. All of those could have played into this. There's a lot of really good friendships in this season, but Maze and Dr. Martin is who takes the cake for me. Now, favorite ship was a pain in the ass, but it came to an all too familiar conclusion. Your nominees: Chloe and Pierce, Lucifer and Kane, Amenadiel and Dr. Martin, Maze and Rivers, Maze and Amenadiel, and your winner, Lucifer and Chloe. I thought about going Maze and Rivers, but Lucifer and Chloe actually came back at the end of the season, and if it wasn't for that, it would have went to Maze and Rivers by a fucking landslide. But or actually Dan and Charlotte. Yeah, Dan and Charlotte too. So Lucifer and Chloe win it, but I'm going to make a note here that Dan and Charlotte is like a smooth runner-up. Least favorite character, again, I need to start paying attention to the bad people throughout the cases because there's nobody I didn't like this season, same as season 2. I don't know, I enjoyed Peeps. Most underrated character this season actually goes to Charlotte Richards. She was just clutch in the season, long term. Yeah. I mean, her life is what ended up taking Lieutenant Smallville down, but yeah. Favorite character was actually a pain in the ass as well to come up with. Your nominees: Lucifer, Chloe, Trixie, Dr. Linda Martin, Maze, Amenadiel, Ella, Charlotte Richards, Dan, Lieutenant Pierce / Kane. I enjoyed his character throughout the season. And believe it or not, your season 1 winner was Lucifer. Your season 2 winner was Ella. Your season 3 winner, I mean, it went back and forth between 2 people. I can't help it. My runner-up is Dan Espinoza. And my winner for this season, actually Charlotte Richards. I enjoyed her arc. I thought it was great. I love her slipping back to her old ways, but still staying grounded. And I really enjoyed who she was. So that's my favorite character for season 3. Now, before we actually 100% wrap this up, I have my favorite season / season rankings and my finale rankings, etc. I will go ahead and tell you overall, season 3 has been my favorite season, but season 1's right there with it. Super, super close. And my names for the season. Season 3 has been entitled, It's a Smallville After All. My finale name is just Curse Lifted. The curse has been lifted, and now we know it all. So that's the names, and we're going to wrap this up. We're going to wrap up the JerAwards with our In Memoriam. Hold steady, because we have some names. Steve Vanales. I'm saying that right. Sam, Lucifer's second set of wings. JD the comedian, the 2 teens killed by Rivera, or Rivers, whoever it was. Emily Goddard, Simon the Pudding Man, Allie, a.k.a. Fake Candy, Louie, Poppy, Reese Getty, Joey Pegley, something like that, Frida, Frankie and the other mob men, the first center man, Moondog, Mama June, Fahid, Kathleen, Bree, Abel, Jill, Benny, Robbie, Rachel, Mary Lee, Dennis, Mike, Barry, Kevin, Raina, Francis, Charlotte Richards, all the goons Maze killed, all the goons Lucifer killed, Lieutenant Pierce / Kane, Beth, and Strider, with an extra second wave. Shouts out to Lucifer's second pet set of wings we watched get cut off. The first center man, Moondog, Abel, Lieutenant Marcus Pierce / Kane / Lieutenant Smallville, and of course Charlotte Richards. May you all rest in peace or rest in dirt, depending on your preference for him. And that's a wrap on season 3, which takes me to my next point, which is tomorrow for you guys will be season 4, episode 1. I'm going to get the title of the episode right now. So hold on. Don't yell at me. There's stuff playing in the background. There's Lucifer trying to find the episode. Season 4, episode 1 is entitled Everything's Okay. And I will see you guys there tomorrow. Hope you all enjoyed the recap, and we'll keep it rolling with Lucifer for the end of the year and a little bit through January. Hope you're having a good holiday so far, a good December, and I'm out. Links and everything will be in the description box down below. Don't forget to let me know your award winners for each of the categories or just anything in general. And playlist will be up on screen. As always, stay cute, stay hydrated, and I'll catch you on the next one.